Unlike in previous Tomb Raider games, what you unlock and can have access to post-launch is pretty minimalistic and kind of disappointing. In previous games, you could get alternate costumes, you could get the ability to listen to the whole soundtrack, you could get straight up cheat codes to get infinite ammo or regenerative health or just super jumps and just ridiculous things like that. In this, no, you only get artwork, and you don't actually get any singular award for 100%ing Tomb Raider 2013. All you get is a trophy or achievement for it, which is never going to be worth it. So sit back and enjoy all the artwork this game has to offer to see how they originally designed and intended some things, and even some concept art, which I do want to take a second to talk about. This is post-recording, so we'll have to just wait until we get to it. But when we get to the concept art, there are some ideas that didn't make the final cut for this game that could have made this game far more, impressive. Very ambitious. Regardless of what they were going for, there was a lot more ambition put into this that unfortunately just didn't make the cutting room floor. The main two being that they were going to push the survivor by making it more horror-esque. And the second one was that they're going to give Lara a horse and make the area you explore not just an island but an entire region, heavily expanding it and making it far bigger. Both of these ideas, unfortunately, are not only cut from this game, but cut from the whole trilogy. We don't ever get a proper full-on horror experience in this trilogy, despite it being a part of the concept art, nor do we ever have a part where Lara is authentically riding a horse. Maybe they felt like it'd be too close to Last of Us if they had her on a horse, which is odd when you consider that, this game primary weapon's a bow, and it was already kind of very similar to a lot of other games. People consider Reboot Tomb Raider the poor man's Uncharted, and although I disagree because they are very different in what they do, I can still see why people felt that this is just a downgrade to Uncharted, just go play Uncharted kind of thing. Which is a shame because Lara Croft used to be so different, and yet it ended up just chasing trends to be a reboot. Even with the criticisms that were addressed and worked on throughout the trilogy, it still never felt the same. And I hope that now this main trilogy is done, whatever they decide to do next, although I can still imagine it'll be more in line with this one, they can embrace more of the classic Tomb Raider now their fancy reboot is finished. Although who knows how long that will be before that happens, with the team currently working on a Marvel Avengers game. And although it's likely a new Tomb Raider will eventually be made, the impression made is that there's no real interest to do one for quite a while. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, unless you're going to platinum or / get all the achievements for this game, I would heavily discourage actually trying to 100% it, because outside of a subtle hint towards Trinity, which doesn't end up meaning anything, it's just to tell you that Trinity's a thing so they can pretend that Lara chasing them in the sequels makes more sense. Outside of that, it's not worth 100%ing it, to the point where the game doesn't even have a scheduled messaging for it. When I beat this game, after the credits showed up, it came up and said, "Oh, you're currently at 100% completion. Why not go for everything?" And it's like, well, hang on. It says 100%. It was just a default message that puts your percentage on it without recognizing whether you've 100%ed it or not, because they just assume you wouldn't have bothered getting everything on the run and you'll come back for it. But when you have 100%ed it, even when you load up a game, the first thing it says every time you load up a save now is it tell you what percentage you are and say aim for completion, even if you're at 100%. That's what I mean. They was almost lazy about it. They just assume people. I think they just assume people wouldn't bother, because there is no award whatsoever in game for 100%ing the game. To such an extent, the game just doesn't really register anything special about it. And I want to say the sequels address it, but to be honest, I've never 100%ed them because they add a hell of a lot more, and I was just never bothered to. Because they add translations where you have to find specific things that allow you to translate specific other things so you can get specific treasures. And such, they just expand on it so much more in terms of what you need to do. Here's the early concepts of Lara more as a survivor, having a torch, having these nightmarish Oni versions. Look at what the Oni used to look like. And having a more of a survival horror-esque design about it. And it just never came to be. But also the fact in all the old artworks and team posters, there's this idea of having her be on a horse and be able to do cool things with the horse as you ride around, wrap onto them and be able to and exploring. Look at these environments. And none of this made the cutting room floor. Everything on that concept art page never got into the final version. None of it. And that hurts, man. Because all of it looked cool. All of it looked like Lara taking to its logical next step, but instead they rebooted it. But there's only so much critiquing will go on, so I'll let the rest of this play out. I just wanted to get to the concept art to talk about it. Next time I see you, it'll hopefully be on a new project, but I'm kind of planning on doing a special video after I've finished off the Kingdom Hearts Super Bosses, just to sort of reflect on the journey, because it's been a year that I've been doing these now. But after that, it'll be the next proper project, and there's a couple things I want to do, but to be put it bluntly, it's more down to how confident I am whether I cover the next project or whether I cover a different one and come back to it. Because there's a project I've been wanting to cover for a long time. Like, I want to cover Dragon Star Varney, I've mentioned that a million times, but that one I can do easily because I love that game. But there's another one that I equally enjoy, but it would easily be the biggest game on this channel. It would easily be the longest because I'd want to show off everything, and it will take fucking forever because it is a very long beast of a game. And I won't spoil what it is, just I guess that's your hint. It's a very, very long game. And it's just more unsure because that's a lot of desire, and it's one of those things where if I do decide to do it, don't expect an upload 5 days a week. Expect about 2 uploads a week, because I'd want to spend a lot of time on it, and I want to make sure it's done right, and I cover everything I can as I go through. And as I go through it, even though I've played the game several times before, I would want a guide on standby next to me and record it all, so it would be a post-recorded thing, because I'd be editing a lot of times, so I'm standing around glancing at guides, just to make sure I can show off absolutely everything the game has to offer. It would be a monumentally large project, easily 100 videos. But that being said, as this little comic that you can pause if you want to read it, but as it goes through, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Oh, afterwards I'll play the definitive credits so you can see the extra credits and stuff and whatnot, but outside of it, we've got everything we needed to see. So until next time, guys, you'll take care now.